That's it. We are live again. Today is about 8 o'clock on the Sunday, the 17th of the 3rd, 2019. Hello, chat room. And Patricia. And Wide Awake.
All right. First of all, I just want to let everybody know, too, that I cannot see the chat in the room. So let me start out with this right here. And this was an extreme low tide this particular day. And I went out, and of course, I brought my GPS, which is ground positioning system. I don't call it a global. I call it ground because I think it's just all being
very good.
triangulated from cell phone towers. But you can see my GPS readings, and know that I'm actually out where normally this would be underwater. Again, it was an extreme low tide, and I'm going to speed this along. And I mean, there's where I usually stand right there up by that observation tower. Actually, it ain't even a tower. It's a little stand. It only sets up 3-4 feet off the ground. And I'm kind of giving you a view around. This is from my cell phone footage. And there's one of my cameras here. That one sets up a little bit higher. I think it was 34 inches. And I've got it looking north. And then I go over here to my other camera. The red one.
I was just noticing then you do everything, you measure everything. Oh wow, that's really well done.
Yeah, and the red camera is the B700. It's only got 60 times zoom, and of course this one here is the P1000 with the 125 times zoom. And you can actually see with my cell phone that island that sticks up out there just a little bit ago, off to the left side of the screen. That was these islands that I filmed, and here's the footage. And well, first of all, I kind of like go ahead and move my camera around and show you that I didn't move my location. I'm still in the same spot. And normally I'm up here in this little corner by that little, like I said, it's an observation deck more than it is a tower. I'm usually standing right in this corner on a higher tide. And I mean, you can tell it's an extreme low. And I was just curious, to see what I could see at this height. And there's a little bit of land off here to the right, or right here. I'm gonna zoom into it. There's a little bit of land in between this part right here. This is all one island. And a lot of times you cannot see that land due to the mirroring effect that occurs. But on good visibility days, it's pretty obvious. Of course, it's a little shaky. It was windy that day, and when you're zoomed out 125 times, every little bit of wiggle will shake your camera. But some of these islands do not stick up very far. Sorry about the shake, and again, it's kind of hard to get things in focus sometimes when you're looking at this tiny little screen that they give you on this camera. Somebody taught me that they've got a external screen that I could hook to this camera with a bigger screen, and that pelican flies in and gets them a fish, probably a mullet. But see this little bit of land that sticks up here? That's actually just rocks that stick up from where they dredged out on the other side of this island. There's a channel there that all the boats come out of. And then in this bay, there's a bay between these islands, which is Hernando Beach Islands and Bayport. There's a bay that a lot of fishermen or people go up into just to have a boating day. They go out there and just float around in their boats. I call it the Redneck Yacht Club because there's a lot of people go up in there and just float around in their boats. But you'll see this island right here coming up to the right. Right here, there's going to be a telephone pole sticking up right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but I've been out here on this island and I filmed from this island the Hernando Beach or the Hudson Beach condos at a low perspective. And the Hudson Beach condos are over 10 miles away. And I could pick up every floor except for the very bottom. And that's where, from all the video I've done, I see what they call compression, when things get compressed. And that bottom floor was compressed because I could literally see the land that those condos set on. So I'm sitting there going to myself, well, 10 miles away I think I was about 3 feet up off the water at the time I made those videos. And I might have put them on this list to show. Yeah, I do. I've got it on the list to show. But you can see as I go further to.
How far away is that island, by the way?
The big one is 4.84 miles. The one with the little slot in there. And here is Anclo Power Plant stack, which is 27 miles away. But wow. Here's where the deal is. People say, well, why can't you see the bottom of it? Number one, it's because of compression. And also, I also say that this stack should not be this wide looking or this big looking to me at this distance. So it is magnification. And at night, you can actually see the lights that flash up at the very top, flash at the bottom. During the daytime, you don't normally see it, but all you're looking at is a mirroring image of it, which you'll see in some of my videos when you look at where there's heavy mirroring going on. It's just all this mirroring effect, and it hides itself within its own reflection. And that's something that I got into when I built my own little funhouse mirror where I could make it concave, convex. And I did a video on that, and I got very little views because I don't know. I think people took it the wrong way. Like I was saying that it was like Earth is concave, convex, and that ain't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's a mirroring effect. It's an effect that's caused by the mirroring, not anything other than. Even this, you see this other little thing here in the center, barely see it. That is a big tower that is down in Holiday, where the Anclo Power Plant is.
I saw it there. How far away is that one then?
That's about 27 miles too, maybe 26 because it is before the Anclo Power Plant, but it's off on an angle, so still it could still be even that distance. And I don't know if you've seen my video that I did on the Crystal River Power Plant, which is north of me. Actually, where I'm at here at Pine Island, there's a power plant 27 miles to my south, and there's a power plant 27 miles to my north. And the one to the north, I pick up very, very well, especially when I have good visibility. And you can see these boats going into, this is the, right here, they're going back into that little bay I was talking about where everybody hangs out. This land that you're seeing right here This is what they call Fiddler's Point. And Fiddler's Point is about a mile away from Bayport. If I was at Bayport, it's only a mile away. And what's funny is I've been at Bayport, and everything beyond it is mirrored. You cannot see water beyond this. But here on this day, I'm 2 extra miles away from Bayport, and looking back at it. So this is this island, this little piece of land right here is 3 miles away. And here I'm picking it up with water well beyond it, at 28 inches. So it doesn't make sense with the Earth curve calculator that I could even see this bit of island. Everything should be cut off well before it, if everything by science is correct. I mean, as far as refraction goes, I mean, does this look like it's being refracted or pulled up from behind the curve anywhere? I don't think so.
No.
And, you know, they might say that this is, but I say, no, it's not. It's just so far away. It's almost invisible. You can almost see through it. And when I was on the Hernando Beach Islands, you could actually see the wires coming off on the angles that hold this thing up. You could literally see those. Let me kind of move this along a little bit, because I was just kind of messing around with the other camera. And let me see if we can't follow a boat here, catch a boat coming out of here and track it. Okay, you see this boat over here. He's in the Hernando Beach Channel, which this channel goes away from me, not toward me. It actually goes away. So those islands that are over here to the west are closer to me than what this boat would be. This boat is actually further away because the channel leads away from my location. And you can see how low it is when you got crab traps sticking up and all the rocks sticking up. And I caught something the other day that was pretty good too. I'll try to. All right, here's this rack that I always called Billy Steele's rack, and this is actually, it was a Hernando Beach rack. And I really thought positively that this was the Billy Steele's rack, because I've been out here on my boat, but the day that I went out to all the racks on my boat, I did not really get close enough to this rack to read the sign, because it was getting late and we wanted to get to this island. And then here's the Bayport rack. Let me pause this for a minute here. There's 7 horizontal boards going across this, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 7th one is kind of like being blended in. You see this distortion occurring, and that distortion is also an issue, because it's actually light, the light or the heat distorting the object, which really kind of pulls it into itself. And in other words, they want to say refraction's pulling things up, but I've proved with my videos that refraction is actually pulling things down more than up. And it's pretty simple for anybody to go out and check this. I mean, you see this boat right here. People say, well, that's being refracted up. I mean, you can hardly make it out because, again, you know, you've got all of this distortion going on the edge of the water. And what I like to bring out is the light propagating upward. Light reflects upward, right, off the water. It don't reflect down. It reflects up. So when you have water that's very reflective, you get this distorted edge up above that visible water line. There is water that goes beyond, because like I say, that you can never get rid of this mirroring effect because it's always there. Anything past the visible water line, it always gets mirrored. So what you're looking at is a mirroring of the sky
Yeah,
above.
you're able to rectify that bit. No one ever will, because that bit's always there.
Right, right. And you cannot get past it. Even I don't care how big of a camera you got or how large of a zoom you got. The only way to get past it is to go higher. It's again, I used a board as a reference to, you know, if you look at a board straight on, you can see the whole length of the board. As you lay that board down flat and just look at the surface, it becomes a little sliver. Now, if you had a board that was, you know, 20 miles long, what would you think you would see at the end of that board? Not much, right? Especially if it was reflective board, like the water is. By the time you set something at the end of it, it would probably be hidden within that brightness of the light. Light is part of the problem out here. Sometimes I can get days where we got overcast and see very, very far out there, and very clear. I mean, these aren't even some of the clearer videos I've got of boats being out there. I've got clearer ones that I've showed in the past. And again, like I said, I got very little views on them. Here's one where I got down real low and I wanted to find, see these, there's 3 islands here. Can you see my cursor in the video?
Sorry, just unmuting. I can see it here. Yeah, it's small, but you can still see it. I think the chat room can see it.
Okay, well, these islands are quite a ways away. And I do a lot of fishing up in this area. And not only can you see the islands, but you can see the rocks and, you know, because it's so low. And I can even see this Chassahowiska channel markers up there, which are, wow, I'm not even sure exactly how far it is. I know it takes me quite a while to go up there in my boat from Bayport. So when I'm seeing them in my camera, I'm saying to myself, well, man, how far up there am I seeing these things? Because I should not be able to see them. I mean, of course, with the naked eye, you cannot see them. And you know, you could see this light reflecting upwards too. It's causing it really to be very hard to get into focus. And then I can see land further up here. And you know, people say, well, no, that's the water boiling up. No, that's actually land. That's well beyond. And I do believe some of these are boats up here that are well out there too. And you can see me trying to get this thing into focus. Um, and you just cannot focus on distortion. I'm sorry, folks. If you try, you could try all day long and you cannot focus on that distortion. But I can obviously see land up here. And like I said, I'm very familiar with this because this was my main stomping grounds for years of fishing. And I know when I'm out there on my boat, as I'm passing by some of these areas, I can see land up in front of me. And here you can actually see a palm tree sticking up. So I know it's land. And I should not even be, I shouldn't even see these rocks right here at the height that I'm at. Okay. I mean, I really shouldn't. And let me see here. I do believe I go over here and one of my problems is too is I need to back off my zoom sometimes because I think I try to zoom in too far, and that's always an issue, is zooming in too far. Here I say, hey, look at these giants. There's some giants out here. One lady's further out than the other, and the other people look like they're giants compared to her.
Very funny.
It's perspective, you know, and people say, oh, perspective. This is what I get from a glober. Perspective is just an artist's trick. Really? Come on, man. I mean, an artist trick? No, it's reality. If you look at somebody that's, you know, standing, 20 feet away from you, or say 50 feet away, and then you look at somebody that's standing 100 yards away, of course, that person that's closer to you is going to look huge. But they want to, I find that the trolls just want to cut you down and put doubt into other people's minds that are even thinking about looking into flat Earth. Because let's face it, none of us believed in flat Earth when we first, got into it. I certainly didn't. I thought it was the biggest joke I ever heard. Because of course, we were brainwashed into believing everything that we were taught as children. And even as adults, we still think that we're learning the truth. And it's really not. Let me see here. I had some other stuff.
Mind you, that's why you can talk about it so much, isn't it? Because it's one thing watching a video, it's another thing actually doing the research. There's no way that you can pretend it's anything other.
Well, that's true. And on this particular day was really funny because I got this. Let me see here. Let me click on this one. I got this Phantomagora, which I really hardly ever have caught the Phantomagora. But on this particular day, I did. I was catching it, and it was like, this is really weird. I mean, you see this boat way out here. Look at it. It looks like it's here, but it's up here. So where is the real boat? This is the real boat because you can see the person standing straight up in the boat. Where up here, it's being stretched upward, and it looks like it's further out here in the water. Is this water that's back here? I think so. I think that it acts like a lens, though. It acts like a lens, but a mirror lens, okay? And that's where I get this concave, convex mirroring effect. It occurs, and here I'm following this boat, and I mean, you start seeing it reflecting below it and above it. I mean, the orange boat, you can see it reflecting underneath it. The boat beyond it, you can see it reflecting above it. It's like, well, what's going on here? Because I can obviously see water that's farther in the background. And I know that there's water further in the background. Only because I've seen it and I've watched it. But look at this, how this thing starts, how it starts reacting. You see this big...
Look at the shadows on the water. How much shadow, like that's miles of compressed water, but it's still got a shadow.
Yeah, it's got the image in it just being stretched out back toward my eye. And it's like, well, where is this boat exactly? Okay, that's what you got to say, is where is this boat exactly? And if you play around with concave, convex mirrors, you can see how things get stretched and how things can get compressed within a concave, convex mirror. And that's what's occurring on this particular day, is just this weird reaction to everything. I mean, this was the weirdest day I've ever had out on the water. And this I was catching with the P700, or the B700, excuse me. But this is the actual boat right here. And you can see how its reflection is just being smeared all the way across the water. And then back here, you all of a sudden see this boat meeting back up with its reflection. It starts meeting itself back up. In other words, this is the actual boat right here. This is the illusion up here. And then look down here, you can all of a sudden see it starting to stretch down. This is some wild phenomenon.
How far away is that from you, roughly, when you're filming that?
What's that?
How far away from you is those boats, roughly?
Actually, these boats weren't that far away. These boats were less than 3.5 miles.
Well, but it's amazing that all that happens in 3.5 miles. I suppose that's the vanishing point, isn't it, roughly? But yeah,
well, where I was
the shadow.
Where I was standing at is I'm on top of a seawall. Okay, so my camera height is probably about 10 feet from the water to the top of my camera. So, you know, I'm sitting there going, well, wow, why am I getting this when if I'm up 10 feet, I should be able to see much further, correct? I mean, than a 6-foot man because of the water depth. So, I mean, did you see this right here? I mean, watch what happens, right?
Stretched even more. This is the other way.
Yeah, now it's stretched the other way. Now watch it. I'm going to let it just play by itself. And then you'll see everything comes into fairly good view too after this effect. It's like this warm, hot air come floating above this water out here. And now all of a sudden, everything's coming back down to normal. Now all of a sudden you can see this boat.
Oh yeah, there's a what do you call it? A mirage. The top of the boat up there, and there isn't there, is it? Look.
Now, if somebody wanted to say that Phantom Aurora was a refraction, well, yeah, but is all of this out here a refraction? And I say no, because I've actually followed boats out here on different days under different circumstances without any issues. I mean, really clear visibility. And I mean, you can still see part of it's reflecting up here. But meanwhile, this boat is perfectly in the water.
Crazy though, isn't it?
And you can see these people. So then, let's see. I made a list here to show some of this stuff.
It's still doing it, wide awake. It's still doing that bit on top of the boat.
Oh yeah, and you know, here's
whoa, isn't that strange? They're all not. It's all normal looking now.
yeah, now it's all normal looking. But you see this this wave going way back, and people say, well, that's not water. Well, I believe that is water, but it's not. The water's really here, and this is all just being more or less reflected upward. You know how Jaron did his, he was trying to shoot a laser through the 3 holes in the boards.
Right.
Well, I think, I mean, myself, I made a comment on the last video that they did that it wasn't going to work because he isn't taking into consideration perspective. As I'm filming these, see this 19, this is a just a channel marker. As I'm filming and I see these channel markers going out away from me, and I think he was trying to do 3.3 miles or something like that. Well, all the channel markers get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as they go out.
What is that one then? Because you can see that one moving, can't you?
This marker. This marker is what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's also sort of wobbling around a bit, isn't it?
Just a little bit. I think that's more my camera wiggling than it is the object. But that's not very far out from me at all. That's maybe a couple 100 yards. The number 1, see, they start out as a higher number, and the further you get away, they go downward. Now this is what was where is it here? Let me see if I got it. I think it's here. I went to Pine Island later on that day, and here's the islands. Okay, as you can obviously see, I can see this little gap right here. This is this gap that I'm always looking at. But look at this up here. It's the island being stretched up. This is from the same day. It's the Morgana, Fata Morgana, whatever. And I'm sitting there saying, what in the world? You know, because like I said, this was the first time I really ever caught this to the point where it stood out so much that I was like, what is going on? And I'm sitting there saying, look at it. It just keeps stretching this thing up. And here's where you get that, boom, back to normal. But look at where that water line is out here, way up here. And people say, no, that's not the water line. Well, I tend to disagree with them. I believe that this is the water line. If it's not much lower than that. It's here. And you hardly ever catch water behind the island. But on this particular day, I think that I was catching water behind it. But that could be debatable. And I could debate myself on that. So I'm not going to stick by that 100% because, you know, all right, here's the thing. 28 inches. See these channel markers here that are in front of the islands? They're the Bayport channel markers, which if I was to measure 28 inches off of here, I would probably be at this point where my cursor is, if I can get it to stay there, or off that boat. Now, if I go further out to the islands and I try to mark 28 inches, where would that be? Because the islands are actually another, they're like 2-something miles further away from the Bayport channel markers. I mean, it don't look like it. It looks like this channel marker's sitting right next to these islands, doesn't it? But there's 2 miles in between in this little strip of water. There's 2 miles in that. And you're saying, huh? That don't make sense. But that's perspective.
And you can't see it like that, can you? It doesn't look like that. It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, that's why I said it's like looking at the board. You know, when you get down eye level with a board, even if it's 7 foot long, that 7 foot turns into that tiny little sliver. So because I'm up a little bit higher, still I'm looking 4.8 miles, and it's just that little sliver. The farther I get away from my camera, everything gets to be a sharper, smaller angle. And I wish I should have paused it right there, or actually I can pause it right here. You see this land that's sticking? I mean, this is land that this island's on. Actually, like I say, it's a bunch of rocks that they dredged out and made islands out of when they were dredging the channel to Hernando Beach. So all these islands right here are just dredged up rocks that eventually mangroves grew on. They're not really trees, they're mangroves. And they like the salt water. They grow in salt water, and of course they like to grow where rocks are, or anywhere that they can, you know, seed into. They drop seeds that look like big green beans, but they do grow wherever they get a chance. But you know, when you're looking at this and you see that little bit of land, that land is only you know, 4 or 5 feet high. So what you're seeing is 4 or 5 feet. It don't look like 4 or 5 feet, but what would you expect it to look like at 4.84 miles? You know, 5 feet. Look at some of the boats that go by. I mean, some of these boats are sticking up a certain height, and let's see if we can catch one. well, here. I don't think this day was a very good day for boats out there. And of course, here I am. All right, you know, here this boat might stick up a couple of feet, but he's of course a lot closer to me. Let me get into a better day of visibility here, because I had some really good days of visibility. Let's see. And
Just
that,
just for everybody listening, we're very lucky. We're going through the art, or what do you want to call it? Not archives exactly, but this is footage that a lot of people may not have seen. Is it that right?
yeah, a lot of this, I I don't post a lot of stuff. I mean, compared to what I've got, um, because of the fact that I do so many videos that, you know, if people wanted to, I mean, if people watched all my videos, it's, oh my God, you know, you got tons of them. I don't think this was the one I wanted to show, but you know what? I'm going to show this one anyhow, because this had a big green flash. This is the sun. And I'm gonna speed it along because I don't think people want to watch 15 minutes of this footage here, but I'm gonna bring it to a certain point and then let it go. And I love doing sunsets, even though I don't call them sunsets. I call them sun departures or sun arrivals, because I see the mirroring here. Okay, and after these sunsets, on a lot of times I zoom out and I watch the clouds do like a kaleidoscope. Uh, you know, this underneath these clouds is just a mirror image above the clouds. So these clouds right here are getting mirrored. Okay. So is the sun actually a ball in the sky that's floating out in space? I actually look at it as a projected disc. It's a disc being projected, and it's being projected on a, well, we could say it's a screen. Is it the firmament? Some people want to call it the firmament.
You know, it kind of reminds me of a bit. You know, when you have a magnifying glass and then you put it on paper and it burns?
Yeah,
So it's coming through like that somehow.
exactly, exactly. And you know, a lot of people don't look at it like that. They just, of course, you know, we're just believing in everything that science tells us about it, and without ever really going out and observing it for ourselves, which we can't do because none of us are going to become astronauts, because you're not you're not going to be an astronaut, um, unless you are part of the program.
Astronauts, aren't they, anyway?
Yeah, and this is
Oh,
a big green flash right here. Bang.
golly. Oh.
And again, you know, I do a lot of after the fact. Okay, here you can see the mirroring here. This is the one that I always thought that was Billy Steele's, and it's not. It's Hernando Beach marker. But you can see the mirroring going on, and then you can see the mirroring on this boat. Uh, where's the water at? The visible water you can see, but above it is more water that you cannot see. It's invisible because it's the angle that I'm at. The light hitting the water creates this um, mirroring effect, and that's all I call it. It's an effect.
Is that mirroring effect the same with or without the sun?
I've had it mirror at night. And that's one of the funniest things was the other night I went out and I caught this boat that was to the south of me, that it was crazy because it started out in the mirror. Okay, it's in the mirror, and I zoom in on it just to a certain distance, and then all of a sudden it starts coming out of the mirror. It comes out of it. And I've actually done it both ways. I had a boat coming in that you could obviously see that it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden it hits this mirroring edge, and then it starts sinking into the mirror, and just vanishing into its own reflection, almost like what this boat's doing right here. For a minute there, you could see it splashing. You could see its wake being pushed up. And then now all of a sudden, it's getting kind of sucked into that mirroring effect. And here it comes again. You can see it come out of it. You can see it splashing its waves up, its wake. I mean, it's a phenomenon that really, I think, needs to be. I mean, if you're a scientist, you need to explain it better than what you are explaining, especially with Mick West's curve calculator. I think it's all bullshit.
How far away do you reckon that boat is from you now when you're filming that?
Well, he's already he started out at 4.84 miles, because he's coming out of the Hernando Beach channel. Okay, because Hernando Beach is the only place that these bigger boats come out of. You don't see them come out of Pine or Bayport, because the water there is just not deep enough. So all of these boats, most of these boats right here, these shrimp boats, crab boats, they all come out of Hernando Beach. I mean, you might be able to see a smaller shrimp boat come out of Bayport, but I don't think any of them go up into Bayport, because there's nowhere else to go. Once you get to a certain point, the water becomes too shallow. And these big boats, you know, they draft a lot more water than a flats boat or some of the smaller boats. So there's no way that they're going to get up into Bayport. So this boat, obviously, you can see it going. It's literally going away from me. And the reason I always say that they're going away is because you can see the rear end of the boat, and it's going on an angle away. And some people think that they're going straight across when they're not. All right, actually, I am at Bayport. Excuse me, I'm at Bayport. I thought I was showing because I went to Hernando Beach later on this day. Or actually, I'm on a different day. I'm sorry. I changed to a different day. I got to get a drink.
That's okay. It's quite amazing when you think it's all that distance away, and you can see it splashing those waves on top like that, but you still get the mirroring effect.
Yes. And the water, does the water look that rough?
No.
It doesn't, but it actually is, because you can see this boat hitting the waves out there. And he is 3 point something miles away, because of even at Bayport.
It does that though. It shows you a part of the water and it's showing you the boat, but it doesn't quite show you the rest.
Right. See how it's sinking into the mirror as it goes further away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I catch a lot of. And then, okay, I had some, and I made so many lists. I did. I made a bunch of lists of videos I wanted to show.
I bet you think, well, which bit shall I show them?
Let me go to I got a bunch of stars on this one. 2018 207. 207. Huh? Oh, I'm wrong. It's 206. Yeah, it's this one.
How many years have you been making videos, by?
What's that?
How many years have you been doing these videos now?
3.5 years, approximately. Now, this was some that I did toward the evening, and this boat obviously is going away from me, and I'm hoping I get it into focus a little bit better. And this marker right here, that's Bill Watts. Oh yeah, this, I remember this. This was actually some good video. That marker was Bill Watts, and Bill Watts is about 3.5 miles away from Bayport, where I'm at. And what I did was I stopped and I went toward you know, I shouldn't have, but I went after the sun. But then I go back toward the boat, and this was the freaky thing. Here's the boat. Now, obviously, this right here is approximately 3.5 miles away, this channel marker. Now, when you compare that to the boat, again, you know, if you were trying to do you know, a gerund test, you would never be able to match that up with the same height, because your height is going to change due to perspective. But you can see this boat is going well past this marker. I mean, this boat's over 5 miles away from me as it is. And I follow this boat, and I follow this boat, and I follow this boat, and I follow it, and I keep following it, and I keep following it. And you see this up here, is that water? I think at least up to here is, or if not, this is the actual horizon line here, and this is a mirror image down here of this up here. But I keep following this boat.
I've seen that on other people's videos, especially of the sun. It just repeats itself, and like the clouds, it's repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. It's most bizarre.
Yeah,
that bit when the sun's in that bit, it's just weird.
It is. It's very weird. And I mean, I was actually following this boat for 45 minutes. Now, if you take into consideration, these boats are going, I mean, even if you say that they're going 20 miles an hour on the water, which, believe it or not, some of these boats can haul ass. I've been out there following them in my boat doing 30 miles an hour. Of course, I catch up to them and pass them and get the crap beat out of me because they're putting out a heck of a wake. But they're moving at least 20 miles an hour going out of the channel. So when they're out there in open water, can they go faster? You know, probably can, but probably not by much. Now, let's let that go back here a little bit. This other boat's going to go by. And I'm going to try to pause it when this boat goes by. If I didn't already, I may have screwed it up by backing it up too far or not far enough. Right there.
Well, it's disappearing now, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you compare this smaller boat to this big shrimp boat, and you say, wow.
It doesn't it? It looks like it's higher in the water.
Well, that's because the water is there.
Yeah.
See, this is where everybody makes the mistake at, because perspective-wise, if you go eye level to your camera, eye level is actually way up here. It's way up here. And, you know, people are thinking it's way down here where this visible water line is. But if you actually put a level on your camera, like I did one day, and then I used my virtual horizon to show that the water goes actually well beyond or well above that visible water line by a long shot. Like when I'm zoomed in on the Bayport bird rack at 3.5 miles, that actual line is above the bird rack. The actual
That does
level
look really strange, doesn't it? Now you're looking at that, because you can almost still see that boat sort of go. It's left a little trail in the water, hasn't it, where it's going through, and yet
Yes.
it's on a different level to that boat.
Yeah, and again, I've not even done following it because it just turns in more or less to a blob because it's getting distorted, of course. But as I keep following it out, and I zoom back, and then I zoom back into it, and of course, when I zoom back into it, I lose some of my focus. I've learned to use manual focus a lot more. I mean, now you can kind of really see that this boat is way out there. Now, I'm figuring this boat to be 10, 15 miles away. And there's no way that I should even be able to see that at all from the height that I'm
Especially
at.
if it's supposed to be a curve, and like it would be going over the curve, so it wouldn't be able to see it, would you?
No, it should have went over the curve when it was at this point, at the point of that marker, because that marker is about 3 miles away, 3.5. And I'm actually where I did this video at. Let me see if I've got. Yeah, here I. This is where I was at. I'm on the corner. I can look back and see the bird or the fishing pier at Bayport, and the water was fairly high. So I'm maybe 6 foot above the water because the water is just in the grass right here. It's not very far. I mean, I walk over here and I even show you down in the water or down in here that the water's right there. I think I hit my wrong button when I got to that point, but the water's right here in the grass, and I'm not far off of it. So there's a little bit of an embankment there, maybe a foot. My camera height is about 5 feet. So that gives me a 6 foot height. And the horizon's supposed to be gone at 3 miles. But here I was following that boat for that long. That is just absolutely crazy. And let me see
We've also
here.
talked about the fact that, as well, is that people think that when they're watching the sun and it's all glistening, that they're just looking at glistening sun, but they're not. There's an electrical thing going on, and those are little electrical orbs flickering all over the water. They're flickering all over the sun. When you zoom in, they're flickering all over the water, just flickering everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Here's some. Let me just show you where I go out. This is Hernando Beach. This was where the boat, where you launch your boat at. It's in a canal, and there's houses on both sides. And of course, you got to go out real slow. And then we get out here, and then here's the islands. These islands right here that are on my right, you cannot see them from Pine Island or Bayport because they're being blocked by some of the other land that is, in my way. But I'll show you. Okay, some of these islands I think you can see from Pine Island. You can't see any of these islands from Bayport. The only thing that I've ever seen of these islands from Bayport is at the very, very, very end. There's on a low tide, there's some rocks that stick up that's further out. And again, the only time you're going to see those is on a very low tide. And I've actually filmed those on a low tide. And you say, what the heck? How could you film those rocks that barely stick up from the water at 3 miles away? A little over 3 miles away. And you can see how high these islands stick up over here. They're not very tall. They're not very high at all. I mean, look at this guy in a jet ski. And you see the land here. Some of these, like I say, they don't stick up very high at all. And I'm seeing these islands from 4.84 miles away. I mean, isn't that crazy that I'm able to see these islands at that distance? I mean, Bayport is to the north. I'm going west, of course. So
no, aren't they? It's pretty flat and just only able to be just off. Mind you, Sandra's in the chat room, by the way. Sandra P900, who's been looking forward to today.
Hi, Sandra. I like her videos. She does such a wonderful job with putting them together with music. And I'm not one for putting music on because I always worry about copyright strikes and I don't want to deal with it. I have not gotten one strike. Even though I know my channel is being suppressed.
Like us all, don't worry there. We're all getting suppressed. Anybody trying to tell the truth. But just to say, Sandra, you know, she put her camera actually on the beach and she could see the Isle of Man.
Yes, I saw that footage and it was like, what? That is crazy. But did you see?
She says, hi, wide awake. She's written in the chat room.
I did the same thing one day as I put my camera on the seawall. Even got it wet and splashed on, which was not good for my camera. But I did it because I really wanted to see what I could see. And then, of course, I did the video where I had my camera on a little tablet, little pad that I had, and I had it 4 inches off the water, and shot, or I was actually taking pictures of that power plant 27 miles away. Isn't that some crazy stuff?
Even the clouds don't look right, do they? They don't look real either as you're bobbing up and down. The clouds are sort of bobbing up and down as well.
And, you know, over here on the right, like I was saying, that there's a big bay. Well, here's something that a lot of people should think about, especially people that are used to being on the water, how the wind will affect the water and affect the tides. Because if you've got a high tide and the wind's coming offshore, blowing onto shore, it will push that water further in and cause some flooding. And it can work the opposite way. If it's an outgoing tide and you got a heavy easterly wind blowing offshore, it can blow the water out. I've been stuck. Okay, see this rock right here that is on the right-hand side of the screen? That is the rock that I can catch from Bayport on a low tide. Which you say, how in the world could I catch that? Those rocks barely stick up but a couple of feet. But I can film them rocks from Bayport, which I shouldn't be able to see at all. And then some scientist or some globe person is going to tell me, oh, it's refraction pulling it up from behind the curve. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I just don't buy it. Because what I've been filming and observing is more of a downward refraction than anything getting pulled up. I mean, very, very seldomly. Okay, the Phantom Gorna or Gora, whatever. Now that could be a refraction pulling things up. But as far as pulling down, I observe more pulling down than upward. And this was one of the days that I actually go out here to these islands. I get on them. And believe it or not, I hurt myself this day. I got out here and I was fighting, struggling to keep my boat from being jammed up into the rocks. So I kept having to go out there and keep my boat from getting turned sideways. And when you're trying to do this by yourself, it really just isn't no fun.
Yeah, it looks a bit rough out there.
It can be. And then when you're trying to concentrate on filming and you got this wind blowing like mad, this is not a good one to show. Yeah, these videos aren't good to show because it was just so windy that day that I could not keep my camera sturdy. But I just kind of wanted to show that I have been out on those islands. Let's see. This is what I wanted to show. Where's, because this was like just before Christmas. This one, yeah.
Golly, just so many pictures and videos.
Okay, this was just before Christmas, and we went out here and started taking pictures of. I had a friend with me, and we were taking pictures of these. Of course, I wasn't very good at keeping my camera steady for a little bit here. I kept moving my camera, but these are the these are 10, little over 10 miles away from the location that I was at on this island. And you can see that these kind of hard to show, but this lumpiness right here is the land that's these condos set on, and I changed some of them. I can edit and create some of my videos, change the coloring in them, and try to bring out a little bit more of that water. But even look over here to the right. There's some houses that set beyond these condos that set further back. And I even got the lights from them in there over here on this right-hand corner, which that's even further away than these condos. But I wasn't really used to taking pictures. Now, this was probably the better one. I found out, they say that there's 10 floors here, but they also count this other one up here at the top that has no lighting on it as a floor. So really, there's only 9 floors, and you can count 8. But as you notice, as you go down, everything starts getting more and more and more compressed to where these last 2, or this last one, is actually 2 and 1. So there is your bottom floor at the very bottom. These lights right here, these small lights just above this dark part, are the lights that are like yard lights. They're just little lights on posts that stick up. Plus, there is a wall that goes out in front of here. All of these buildings have a privacy wall that's there because I do believe they got a pool beyond them. And, I guess they want some privacy from the people that are over here in this other park. There's a Hudson Beach Park that's over here to the east. And you can see I wasn't very good at taking pictures on this particular day or at this time. I've gotten a lot better at taking pictures with my camera, which, again,
how many floors did you say that building had? Because I can see 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With the top one, there's 9.
Yes. And I've had some troll people say, well, you can't see the bottom one. And I'm like, yeah, well, you got to take into consideration my height. My camera was only at 3 feet. So how am I seeing this even at 3 feet, being able to catch all of this? And that's what's crazy. As you can see, these floors are getting more and more and more compressed as I go down. So it's just being compressed. And that's part of that mirroring effect, I guess you could say, or just part of being at a low perspective. And all of these trees that are out in front of here block you out from seeing it. Um, Now what I did, okay, there's even a better one there. And you can see these trees blocking you out from seeing, you know, beyond it. I was trying to bring out more of the water so you could see the water by changing these. And of course, as I pull back, you can see, you know, all this land. Um, it's just crazy to me that I'm able to see, you know, 10 miles at 3 feet. Um, what I did a couple of days later, not sure if it was this one. Yeah, this one. I actually went down there and took some pictures up close in my boat. Now, I wasn't at the same angle. I should have been more to the right. And you could see if I went more to the right and took pictures, how these trees right here would block out almost all the buildings, right?
You mean when you're there at
Yeah,
that point,
I'm real close here. I'm down here at Hudson Beach.
and you get further away and you see more of the building?
Yeah. Well, you know, I was seeing kind of through these trees a little bit, but you can see that you still got this blockage, and you can see the wall that's built right here. But you can also see these little lights that stick up that ain't very high. They're not very high off the water, all back in here. And this is what, you know, you were seeing, that little sliver of land that's blocking out some of those buildings. Even at, you know, 10 miles, what's the effect that's going to look like at 10 miles? You know, there's nothing that's, I'm not going to buy into something's pulling all of this up, you know, miles and miles of water and land, pulling it up to make it look level and flat in front of me. And that's what refraction, they try to teach you with refraction, that it's this unseen, unproven thing that really, okay, don't get me wrong, refraction is real, but I think refraction occurs on light, not on land. I mean, objects don't refract up from behind the curve. Light can refract up, but not objects. In other words, if your camera cannot see the object to begin with, how can it pull it up? You understand what I'm saying? If this is all down below the curve,
We'd be seeing it more like the other pictures you were showing, or the film with the boat with the mirage on the top. We'd be seeing a mirage up.
yes, you would be seeing all this blurry, god awful look to it, not what my pictures were shortly before that. And of course, here I zoomed in here, and you can see one, two. Well, actually, I think it was this building. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 levels that I can actually see from this distance. Now, if there is another floor there, it's hiding behind this wall, okay, that I cannot see behind the wall unless I was way up high looking down at it. But looking upward at 3 feet, I would be even blocked out more by this wall at 3 feet. And that might be where my very bottom floor kind of disappears into, or compresses into. It may be just more of a blockage of this land and these trees and all. And actually, let me see if this was part where I actually, no, this wasn't the one. I went in here on another day too. Actually, this might be it. Yeah, we were actually trying to film back towards the Hernando Beach Islands, but it was nothing but mirror. You couldn't see nothing but mirror out there. And again, this was with the P900 at this time. I didn't have the P1000, so this is P900 footage. But here's where I actually drive real close to it, and you see the building, and you can see that wall. And just look at this angle right here, how much footage that wall blocks out.
It's not that high though, is it, the wall?
No, it's probably about an 8-foot wall, maybe 10 foot at this corner right here.
Hmm.
Actually, I had another one where I walked up in there and was taking video. Geez, what happened to that? I think that was on a totally different day. Let me see if I can find. I wanted to show you some of my pictures that I have been taking. Ah, here we go.
How many hours of footage do you reckon you've got in there then?
Oh, geez, thousands and thousands of hours. I know, it's crazy. I've dedicated myself to doing a whole lot of observations, but um, that ain't pictures. Where did my pictures go? Um, Actually, let me check some of these.
It's very nice looking in your vault, by the way.
Yeah, these are just some pictures I was.
Got the stars in that one.
Yeah, I was trying to catch a lightning storm way off in the distance here. That's one thing too I got into doing, was shooting a lot of lightning. And man, I want to show you. I want to share some of those.
Oh,
Because
go on then. That's electrical, isn't it? So, woo! Go on then, wide awake.
the P1000. Come on, find them here. The P1000 has a couple different settings in it. Here's one of as a star that kind of got overexposed a little bit, but that's Saturn actually. Kind of hard to see on the screen probably. Of course, the moon with Orion's belt underneath. If that's a time lapse, little quick time lapse here. Of course, you can see some little water spots that were on my camera. I didn't clean it off. Let me
They're
try.
not orbs or things, then they're water droplets.
Oh, here we go. Here's some of my lightning pictures. These are long exposures. Okay.
Wow.
And what I did was I left the exposure open. As you can see, this airplane right here, you know how far it travels. It was probably a minute or so exposure time, but I caught all of these were at different times. Okay, like this one struck first, and then a few other ones, and then a few other ones, and this was all within probably a minute or two. Um, And then here's another one where I zoomed in on the same spot, believe it or not, and caught this lightning. Now, if you look at the very, very bottom, right way down here at the very bottom where the water is, you can actually see how that mirror is. There's a mirroring going on out here. And I can tell that there's mirroring going on because the islands are floating a little bit out there. But I really got into doing these lightning storms. And here's another one. And people say, aren't you worried about getting struck by lightning? No, not really. Because these lightning storms are wild.
Miles away.
Yeah, they are, because I could not hear any thunder.
Really?
That's how far away they were. So I know that
miles, you can't hear the thunder. Wow.
A lot of these are down toward.
You know what? People just no idea how local everything is, have they?
No, these are like down in Clearwater. Matter of fact, one day I was at Bayport, and I was filming, and there was a guy there that was he was a photographer too, and he was showing me some of his astrophotography, where he's got one of those oh god, what do they call it, where it moves with the supposedly the rotation of Earth, but I say it's moving with the rotation of the sky. But anyhow, he was showing me how he's gotten some of the nebulas, and I mean, he had some good ones, but he had his laptop with him, and he goes, "Oh," he goes, "Man," he goes, "there's a storm down in Tampa." He goes, "I'm going to go down there and catch some footage." So he jumped in his car and hauled ass. Well, I aimed my camera down south towards Tampa, and I actually filmed lightning for hours till almost like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It came all the way up from Tampa, came out in front of Bayport, and was boom, boom, boom. I mean, all night long. And here's some more lightning. And I'll show you, I got some really outrageous lightning strikes, which are absolutely, crazy. And in the background over here, you can see this is the power plant, Crystal River Power Plant, right where I'm circling with my cursor. And I know Sandra's out there listening. If you go into your P1000, it has a you got your time lapses for doing time lapses, but then in that same setting, you have another one for stars and for lightning. One of them does like 50 different pictures at intervals, and then the other one does open exposure for a long period of time. It does like almost like the hour and a half of a long exposure, and that's what I was using on some of these. And wow, I mean, some of the quality of the lightning that you get out of it is crazy. Now, I would leave it open for a little while, but as soon as like a big lightning strike, I would see a big lightning strike, I would shut it off and start it over again, so I wouldn't get a big smeary look. This one kind of like looks a little smeary because the clouds had moved, but it still didn't pick up the smeary look because the lightning didn't show up until this last minute right here. But check into doing pictures with that because it's pretty crazy. And
mind you, everything's happening in a split of a second. We might not notice that split in the second, but you've captured it there in that picture.
Yes. Yes, and let's see here. Here's some pictures of the Crystal River Power Plant, and as you can see on this day, I had a fairly good view. There wasn't a lot of mirroring because a lot of times this water right here, you don't see it go up against the land. It's all mirrored. It's all miraging, really heavy. And then as I zoom in, you can see this stack, this stack, and you can see the big cooling towers right here with two other stacks on the left side of here. Now this is on a very clear day, and again I can tell it's a clear day because when I look at this water's edge, I can see the outline of the land, perfectly. It's not mirrored as in a lot of my other in my videos. When I zoom in here on a day of heavy mirroring, all of this looks really weird. It's
can I ask you how far away then? How many miles is that then?
the
You're looking.
the power plant.
Well, the land. You said the land is clear. So how many miles away is that land then?
I want to say 2 miles.
Okay, it's still 2 miles though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and I don't think I'm at a very high perspective either. Well, maybe on this one I was. But I mean, look at you got you can see the weeds, everything, right along the edge of the water.
And that tower behind it.
Yeah, and that's the big smokestack. That's one of the bigger ones, and then there's like a double one over here.
Do you know how tall that is? Do you know how tall that tower is?
James LE or Matrix Breakout, same guy. Matrix Breakout 6. They're brothers, and one of them runs one channel, one of them runs the other one. And he did a video where he went and analyzed my pictures that I took at 28 inches off the water. And he said it was like 600 feet tall, where I had another guy tell me it was 800 feet. But I guess it depends on which tower you're looking at.
You still shouldn't be able to see it like that, should you? In fact, you shouldn't see it at all, really.
Well, especially the one that I did when I was at 28 inches. It was on a day that I had really, really superb visibility. And, that's what I always say. I keep saying that visibility kills the globe. Because on days of good visibility, I mean, you're seeing stuff like this, where on days without visibility, I can't see none of this. None of this is even visible. And that's because I have a bad day of visibility.
Depend where the sun is in the sky then.
Yes, the angle of light hitting the water or hitting the atmosphere. Did you know that? Well,
it's getting dark there, isn't it? Because it's 6:30, so the sun's going down, isn't it? Or whatever you want to call it. The sun's passing.
Yeah, but you see this smoke coming out of here. What causes that smoke to be seen? It's being illuminated by what? The sunlight, right? The sunlight shining on it and allowing us to actually see it. Just like clouds, I mean, if you observe some clouds like early in the morning without the light shining on it, you really don't see the clouds up there. But like I do a lot of time lapses early in the morning, and all of a sudden, boom, these clouds come into focus, and they're visible once that sunlight hits them. But beforehand, in that split second of that time lapse, you don't see no clouds. You just see the stars, and then boom, all of a sudden, here comes that light, and then you can see the clouds themselves up there, the real thin, less dense clouds. And that's one of the things that I talk about when people are viewing, the clouds through the sun. You got thin, less dense clouds, and then you got thicker clouds. And those thin, less dense clouds look like they're going behind the sun. And then the thicker clouds, of course, look like they're going in front of the sun. But they don't take into consideration the sun is so bright, it's blowing right through those thin clouds. So it's not that there's clouds behind the sun or the moon. That is the illusion. And a lot of people don't really take that into consideration. Here's a short video.
You mean it's that low and it's that local?
Oh yeah, the sun is definitely not 93 million miles away in my eyes. I cannot see it being that far. If you ask me, I mean, I think it's between 3 to 4,000 miles away. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I can't say exactly for sure, but I get a feeling that it's a lot more local than what we're being told, and it's a lot smaller than we're being told too.
Definitely, if you're watching it disappear in front of you on the sea.
And I mean, and you can see how clear it is out there. I mean, look at the islands that. Now, I was out there the other day, or actually this morning, I went out there, and those islands you couldn't even see them. And I even went up on the.
I'm jealous. Look at those palm trees. Oh, it looks nice. I like that.
This is a nice little park. There's only just one bad thing is during the busy season, man, does it get full. I mean, there's tons of people there, and they'll walk right in front of your camera. You know,
The giants. They're the giants.
yeah, and you know what? I can't say nothing because it is a public park. But you know, I get people ask me, "What are you doing?" And I say, I tell them, I say, I'm doing my own science. What do you mean your own science? And I get into conversations with them, and to my surprise, some people are very awake. They're like, you know, they agree that it is scientism and that science is not reality. It's a belief. And it really surprises me to hear some of these people say that that's what they think, that, you know, it's all a brainwashing scheme. And here again, if you don't go along with popular belief, what do people do to you? They insult you. They tell you you're stupid. You know, and what is that? Get with the program, buddy. Yeah, because it's a program. You're programmed to believe in something that's not real. And I get people to ask me about religion. And to be honest with you, I'm a spiritual person.
It looks like gold or something, doesn't it?
Yes. I'm more of a spiritual person. Um, and I believe in creation, but I don't. And this might be kind of my downfall from some people. They might look down upon me because I don't go into the Bible and I don't preach that. And the reason why I don't is I believe it's a personal journey for one to find themselves and find the creator for themselves. I should not have to push my belief on somebody else. I mean, I don't know how many different religions in the world. So why should I push my belief on somebody? You know, if you get my drift. I mean, and again, I'm not, I give all respects to all these people that, you know, use the Bible, use phrases from the Bible to show people that, you know, we are being deceived by man, by science. And there's nothing wrong with that. Very blurry pictures. Um, Here's one where I was getting the crepuscular rays. I don't know if that's come out that good. But you can, I did a panorama, and you can see these. Uh, there were crepuscular rays, anti-crepuscular rays shooting all the way across from one horizon to the next. Have you
Yeah,
seen that?
only see them as the sun's sort of leaving, don't you?
Yeah,
Always in one place when I'm driving, always in the west. And then suddenly there's the sun and all these rays are coming, which I don't notice in the daytime. You know, when it's here, when it's moved across a bit.
right, right. And
Nice. Nice. I love the ones of the lightning as well. Yeah, that's good pictures. They're good. Oh,
I was
wow. Look at that.
I was trying to find the rainbow pictures that I did a while back ago. I did some rainbow pictures that were pretty crazy. Um, oh, here's you might like these. You know what that is?
Not sure. Go on, tell us.
That's the nebula in Orion's belt,
Oh, right.
and that's at 2 point some light years away. And I'm catching it with a P900. So come on, people. You know, get out of that program. It's not light years is just a bullshit theoretical piece of crap that science came up with to get you to believe in absolute bullshit. They want you to believe that these things are this far away, but they have not one shred of evidence to prove what a light year actually is. They can just theoretically give numbers, mathematical, magic to make one believe in something. And here I am,
And good for people like you, hey, who can show us it's a load of rubbish.
It is, because how could I even zoom in on something that's light years away and get this right here?
Don't forget, everyone's supposed to be spinning as well. We're spinning. They're moving.
Right. It is definitely the sky's moving and not us, because we don't feel a thing. And let me bring this up, because I kind of got into an argument with somebody over this. All right. If Earth, okay, Earth is supposed to have a core, right? An Earth's core. And um, it's supposed to be molten lava, iron or nickel, right? That's what they tell you. It's iron or nickel. And and here we are. We don't ever get a observational proof of, right? You don't get a proof of this iron molten lava core. Besides that, where does our magnetic pole come from if it isn't going to become magnetized until after it gets cooled off, right? Things are supposed to get cooled off. Metal gets cooled off before it can get or become a magnet. Now here's a good picture of how this mirroring effect takes place. I mean, you can see the mirroring up close, and then you see where the water gets rippled, and then you see where the water gets calm again. It becomes a mirror again, and you can actually see some of the reflection of the clouds in this water out here. And you see how it goes farther and farther and farther out. There's actually even a little light up here.
I always think it's really strange when you think that those clouds are for much further away, and yet there's shadow of them here. You know, like it's mirroring it right here, but those clouds, it's like those clouds are on top of that water, but they're not.
No,
Not the bit here in front of you, just above the time date, where the thing in the water is.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Imagine shadowing there as if they're on top of that bit of water, but they're not. They're miles the other side.
Yeah, that is crazy, and you are right. These are miles from me, and those maybe even 60, 70, 80 miles, maybe even further. I mean, if you're looking way back just above the water, I think that they're hundreds, if not thousands of miles away. So how far can we actually see on a good day of visibility these clouds just above the water? I had a video where I was chasing down a plane. I was following a plane way out on the horizon, and of course I was zoomed in, and this plane's like way back up in here, but I'm zoomed in on it, and it goes down into the water. And it was crazy. Um, let me see. I think I got some more lightning pictures to show. Oh, here, yeah, this is a good one to show you how that mirroring is. I mean, look, this is all right. Here's what I say too. See how the light reacts and it makes this look like it's got a curve to it. But if you look, you'll see where this mirroring effect is occurring right here. And if you draw a line from here through these clouds straight across and right over to here, it is a straight line, even though it looks like it bows up. And that's what the light does. It's shadow and light. It's light propagation, shadow, mirroring all together, and it creates this false curve out here. It's a false curve because this is a false horizon that you're seeing right here. This is actually the real horizon way out here where this mirroring effect takes hold. I hope this is coming out good on the screen. I don't know how well it's coming out you know, for the people watching.
It looks good. It looks good to us.
Here again, you know, you can see right here where it looks like it goes up much higher, and then you've got this panning down. But here's where the actual horizon is, because you can see the mirror and then the mirror image right here underneath it. And that's what I got into, is this mirroring effect. Okay, here's a good one to show. You see this cloud right here is a mirror image right here that's kind of in the water, but this is in the water too. And here's the actual mirror or the water line here. Maybe it's not the water line, because what I think happens is we get this atmospheric mirroring that actually raises up and causes this rise of a mirror, and that mirror actually acts like a block. It's like a mirror block, and it blocks anything out that's actually out there in the water that's small. Say a boat was out here, you wouldn't see it because this mirror actually hides it. You ever see mercury? Mercury is a liquid metal, and it's almost like mercury out here over the water.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you see a mirage on a road, how it blocks things out that are in its path. Same difference out on the water. And I clicked through a couple right here where you can kind of see how it moves. See how that changed? Right there in those three pictures, you can see it. The clouds are going away, so they're kind of just blending into its own reflection and going to vanish into its own reflection is what it does. And that was a plane, believe it or not. It's a plane I caught. The exposure was a little long. I was trying to do short little burst exposures, but of course the plane's moving fast. So, and here's one where I wiggled my camera. I zoomed in closer, but still too long of an exposure. And that's what you get. And that, like I said, that's a plane and it's lights. Let me get up here to some of this lightning again. Here's just a quick time lapse of some lightning flashing. I mean, we get some lightning here in Florida. I mean, something fierce. Oh, and here you go. Here's some mirroring occurring too. As you can see the smokestack, and then if you look in the water down below it, you can kind of see the smoke coming up out of this water too.
Yeah.
And but look at, you could still see these towers though. I mean, the visibility was fairly good. And I zoom back a little bit. And then, of course, I do got a lot of pictures of stars.
Yeah.
I mean, I got some really a lot better ones than this, but I'm gonna click through some of these because these weren't so hot. Some of them I did too long of exposures. This is one where, you know, I catch this plane going across the sky with the sky lighting up, of course, with some lightning way off in the distance. Again, another plane. Uh, that's I want to get to some of these lightning. Okay, this was pretty cool because I'm catching the power plant back here on the right, and then there's this big stack of clouds right here.
Amazing.
And you know, as I keep shooting this spot, every time it would light up, I would shut it off and start it again. Then I'd zoom in on it, and I'd zoom back, and then look at that one. That is actually one of my favorite
Wow.
pictures that I've taken, because it's got that lightning just, you know, gleaming all the way across the water right to me. Same way with the light over here. You also see some lightning up here. Now, this is so crisp. I could probably sell this picture to somebody that was a photographer or a photographic person. Make a little bit of money, you know, from it. But, you know, if I zoom in here too to the power plant, I mean, not only do you see these stacks, but you see another stack way over here. And this complex right here is a pretty big, pretty good sized complex. Okay. So they, you know, they always think that, you know, you're not going to see this, or I really shouldn't be seeing this from where I'm located.
That is an amazing photograph, though.
I'm kind of clicking through these a little quick. And I like, you know, people might think you're crazy going out taking pictures of lightning, but as long as I'm not like right in the middle of it, which actually a couple of times I was, a little more scary when it's going right off around you. But still, I guess it's exciting, you know. You see these right here. These are planes flying by, and that's how you can tell it's a really long exposure. And I did a video showing how to do long exposures, because a lot of people said they don't, you know, they couldn't figure out how to do long exposures with the P900. And being that I don't have the P900, I did one with the P1000. And oh, what's her name? Susan. I could find her if I went to my.
Can I ask you something? Which camera do you prefer using, the P900 or the newer one? Have you got? Oh, you've got a P900, haven't you? You haven't got the new.
I got the P1000 now. Yeah, I took my P900 because I had bought the warranty, and when I was over in Ireland, I started having trouble with it. It was shutting off on me. It wouldn't zoom in. It wouldn't do this. It wouldn't do that. And I'd already taken it back a couple of times, and it was like my fourth time taking it back. And when I took it back to Best Buy where I bought it, I said, "Hey," I said, "when are you going to do something with this camera?" Because I said, you know, this is like the fourth time. I said, "when are you going to consider it a limit?" And the guy goes, "Well, I'll give you, you know, $599 back right now," and that's what I pay for it, less the warranty. So I didn't get my warranty money back, of course, but I got $600 back, and I took that $600 and I put it toward the P9000 or P1000, and I had to wait a month or so to get it, but as soon as it came out, I got it sent to me, and they delivered it directly to my home, so that was nice. Can you see a kind of a face in that picture right here? I mean, that looks haunting, actually, a little bit
It
to
does,
me.
doesn't it? Yeah, I can see it now.
I mean, you see the eyes right here, and the nose and the mouth.
How
And
come if lightning is a split second, it's such a long exposure when you can see the stars moving, like you can see them in the frame, but you've caught that if lightning happens like that?
yeah, it's definitely crazy the way you could pick lightning up. Again, it has to be a long exposure, because if you don't have a long exposure and you're just trying to click right when you see the lightning, it's gone by the time your picture actually, or your camera actually takes the picture. And that's why long exposures are great, or you know, time lapses are pretty good because you get to, you know, catch all of it. And of course, if I slowed this down, you'd get a little better detail out of it. And that's at full speed. And I like going out here at night and just catching stuff because it's wild. I mean, not only am I catching it with the camera, but I get to see it firsthand with my eyes. And that's what's unique too, is, you know, not just setting your camera up and let your camera do the job, is watching what you're videoing. I'm always taking my head and looking up over my camera when I'm tracking these boats, and trying to see if I can see the boat that I'm videoing. And I cannot see the boats with my eyes. So I know darn well that these boats are well out there. If I can't see them with my eyes, but my camera is picking them up, then they never went over the curve. Unlike, you know, they want you to believe that it already went over the curve because you can't see it with your eyes. And even my wife says, "Well, you're cheating because you're using a zoom camera." I'm like, "No, Brenda." I said, "They say that a man standing 6 foot high, tall, you know, that when it goes over the curvature of Earth is why you cannot see it. Not because I'm using a zoom camera to pull it back into view." And then I tell her that, you know, well, science says it's refraction, pulling things up from behind the curve and laying it out flat in front of me. And she's like, "Bullshit." You know, she even thinks that that's bullshit, but she won't look at my videos. She won't watch them. She won't look and see when it's, you know, good visibility versus bad visibility. And it's kind of hard to explain, you know, especially to her, because she's already got her mindset that science is wrong and I'm just some idiot with a camera out there, you know, wasting my time. And right here, I was trying to catch the three. That's Bayport Bird Rack. This is Billy Steele's. And then this is the Hernando Beach marker. And the other one's further off to the left. or it wasn't blinking at the right time. It's hard to get them to blink at the right exact time. Wow, we've been at this almost, well, I didn't get to show hardly any of this stuff.
Oh, well, no, we've been going 2 hours.
I know.
You know what that means then? Not right now. I understand that. You're going to have to come back and show us some more.
Yes, I could do that.
Oh, I really enjoy it because you really know what you're talking about, and yeah, use different words, and yeah, just that some of that lightning stuff was amazing. Well, all of it's amazing, but I really liked that picture you liked as well. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was my favorite one. And I only got into doing the lightning because I was out there one day and it started lightning, and I was supposed to go home to eat, but I just couldn't go.
Well, I think someone in the chat room said they subbed to you, so you should have a new sub today. And I'm sure everybody's really enjoyed it. You've just this amazing, and yeah, Leah in the chat room. They live on a boat.
Nice.
So they're moving their boat. They think they're going to do a time lapse. They loved your time lapse.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let me show you this little video right here. I always say these are people walking on water, and this is really what a mirroring effect does. Is the boat is here, is being hidden underneath the mirror, and the people stand up, but you can't see their boat, and then you can see the visible water underneath them. And that's what the mirroring effect does, is it hides.
Why does it show any of the boat, but it shows all of them?
Because it's hiding within that mirror. It's hiding within its own reflection.
But they're not hiding in it, but the boat is.
Yes, because they're tall. They're standing up and they're higher than the boat, so you don't get to see the boat. Now I've got people that are smaller than that you can actually see in the boat, but they're tinier. They're little tiny people in a boat. And these people, they look big, but you can't see their boat. So how is that? How can I catch some people that are literally in their boat, smaller, but you can obviously see the whole boat, everything. And then here I catch some people that look huge, that are being mirrored out, is what I call them. I say it's just being mirrored, hidden within that mirroring. And on most of my videos, I try to get close to the water, and that's one of the things that I started to do, is measure my heights and try to give people more of a good idea. I mean, when I started this, it was all for basically me. I was doing it for myself because I was very skeptical of flat Earth when I got into it. And it was this mirroring effect that really made me start researching and looking at my videos with a little more open-mindedness. See, I had a bunch of these where I was like saving. Oh, is this the one? Or is it the other one? I had, yeah, I was doing like these short clips where I was going to make a bunch of short little clips to show people the differences. I probably should show one or two of these before I. Okay, well, let's look at this one. Here's some other people. You see, they're on the water, but you can't see their boat. Where's their boat? It's hidden in that mirror.
Oh yeah, it looks like they're on stilts.
Yeah, I mean, you can see his mirror image underneath them.
That's weird. That is.
Isn't that crazy? But that's how that.
Yes.
That's how that mirror works. It just hides everything. Anything sticking up above or at a certain height can be visible, but everything else is just mirrored. And if you ever go into,
you've got him mirrored, but there's no boat. But he's standing on a boat, but there's no boat.
yeah, have you ever been on a carnival?
Wow.
You don't have carnivals over there?
Yeah, fairs and things. Yeah, yeah, we have
Yeah, well,
carnivals.
if you ever go into one of the fun house, go into a fun house where they got those mirrors and you stand there in front of them,
Yeah,
you can make yourself all short and squatty or tall and skinny, and then some of them got half your body's missing, it's being squished out. Well, that's these effects of this mirror. It can cause you to do all kinds of weird things.
wow, look at that. That's weird. That's really weird.
It is, and that's why I say that this is really what got me into um, learning and really researching why certain things were happening. And then when I made my own concave convex mirror, I could walk up to it and watch my head disappear, just vanish right into itself, its own reflection.
I don't understand how those people are standing in a boat, right, which is a solid object on the water, and yet you don't see them, yet you can see a shadow of the guy upside down because it's miraging, and you can see all that, but no boat.
Yeah,
That's weird.
and then if I showed you one of a regular,
Blown my mind, you have, like trying to work.
like
Oh,
you can look at this and see this bird rack right here, right? That's the Bayport bird rack. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and look at how all this bottom part is all just jammed together. It's being compressed and mashed, and then you got its mirror image underneath it.
but you said that's what happens with the water, so it's got to happen with everything else then, hasn't it?
Yes, yes, and this pole that sticks up here, the water is actually here, but you cannot see it. It's in like this mirroring effect makes the water invisible to where people think that this water line is the water is the true horizon line is not. I've got video where I was up on an observation tower further um, south of me. It's about 40, 45 feet tall. And I've got it where on one day the water's above it, on another day it's down here, and then on other days it's down here. So does Earth uh, get bigger and smaller for us on different days?
But you showed us that, didn't you, with that boat going to the left and then the other boat further away, but actually looked higher in the water. You showed us that earlier on in the hangout.
Yes, yes. It's I just always like okay, here's a boat that's I mean, look at the size of this boat. This is one of those shrimp boats that are out there. And then look at how compressed um, this rack is. And that's the Bayport rack from Pine Island, and it looks compressed and mashed down. Um, and like I said, that was just these short little clips that I've been wanting to put together to show people. And you can see where this light diffraction or this distortion is actually what blocks out the bottom holes of boats. It's not that it's going over the curve. It's getting blocked out by the waves, the light diffraction, light propagation, light reflection, if you want to call it. I mean, because that's to me that's what it is. It's light reflection. Um, or if you ever try to get down low and look across a tabletop and you shine light on it, you'll see how that light reflects off especially if it's a shiny tabletop, and you'll get this like a line going across it. You can't really, I mean, you can sometimes see through it, but it acts as a blockage. Try it one day. And then, here you can obviously see that this water is it's flat all the way across. I mean, there's no curvature. But yeah, I've been doing it for quite a long time. Like I said, I got, these go back to 2017. But on my 2 terabyte it goes back to 2016, and I think it was around. Well, it would be probably 3 years when I got my P900 the first time. But I kind of started looking into flat Earth before that, a few months, and again, even though I was kind of like, I was like, okay, you know, Earth is flat. I was still skeptical in the back of my mind. I kept saying, you know, there's just something that just not, um, it's just not jiving with me as far as um, knowing for sure whether or not Earth was really flat or not. Here I get go into some of these. I could have a field day just showing these lightning pictures.
Yeah, you've got so many. Can you imagine it? We'd be here from here till Christmas.
Yeah, I. This is my problem. Is oh wow, wait a minute. I wanted to show you this. This was Venus, and I know, you know, somebody might say, wow, that's how could that be Venus? Well, this camera, it does like a picture every second or every couple of split seconds or something, um and it's like 50 seconds of just picture, 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 picture. So I started taking a picture of Venus, and it was like a half crescent. um so each time I take, it does this 50 seconds, it adds on, right? And it adds on, and it adds on, and it adds on, and it adds on, and then it ends, and then I have to start over again, and then it goes and goes and goes. And watch it. That wasn't the best one I had, but I did another one with a different star, and you could see when it hit the bottom, it did like a check mark, which was cool, because it told me something right there, that it wasn't uh, the millions and millions of miles that they tell us it is. And here's one where I did a real long exposure. This was one of the lights that was out there, but then a boat went by during the whole time I did this long exposure. And you can see how it just kind of starts and stops, starts and stops, starts and stops. But that's the way those long exposures work. Yeah, you know,
Lovely, love it all. Amazing. Got a good eye, and whatever people like to think, Rich, Mr. Thrive and Survive now has a P900, and he's more like me. It's like, whoa, I've got a cool pics. Even that's got so many settings on it. It's just so you either get it really quickly and you love the cameras, or you don't. Sandra's another one. She obviously learned her camera really well, but I'm like, whoa, I just want to point and click, zoom, click.
I really, it took me a while to get used to using the manual focus. Um, and that was one thing that I really love doing. Now, this is some of the stuff that we get here. I mean, you talk about beautiful. When you're out there and you see this with your own two eyes, you say, oh my goodness. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. It's amazing. Look at those colors. Just absolutely amazing.
And this is one of the reasons too. Well, here's a good way to show too how that shadow. I mean, even though this is perfectly straight across, you can see how that shadow, if it was mirroring, how this shadow would blend in with that mirror and cause this to look like it's rised up or like a curve. And it's all about shadow, light, the way the light hits the water, angle of the light that hits the water. And that's what I've been studying a lot is mirage, the mirroring effects. You know, one of my friends sent me this file to this guy that uh, you know, talks about mirages, how these surface mirages can enlarge, compress, shrink, and do all kinds of weird things to objects beyond, you know, within that mirage, and it fits perfectly in what I'm videoing. But then he goes on to, you know, this other story where he sees something that's even farther beyond what he should see, and it's fireworks that's going off in some town well beyond where he should be able to see. But he's able to see these fireworks, and he's calling it refraction, you know, that it's getting pulled up by this refraction. And I'm saying, no, you're seeing it because you had a good day of visibility that you don't realize how far you can actually see when you have those good days of visibility, which today with the cameras we've got, it's obvious to tell on a day of good visibility due to a bad day of visibility. I mean, just with your own eyes, when I get out at Pine Island and I get out of my vehicle, the first thing I do is I look towards those islands that are in Hernando Beach. If they are floating, I mean, literally floating in the air, I know, oh God, the mirroring's bad today. Visibility stinks, and I'm not going to be able to see crap out there. But instead of just packing up and going home, I say, wait a minute. I am studying and researching all of this stuff. So I get my camera out and I film anyhow because I want to learn and I use it to learn um, of all of these different effects that occur with this mirroring. Um, and, you know, a lot of people will just overlook that and not even pay attention to it. Now, I don't know if people can see this little boat right here that has been moving across the screen right around where my cursor is. But he came way out here by, there's the Bayport rack. I can see it. And the reason I can see it is because I know whereabouts it is because I observed from Bayport for such a long time. And one of the reasons I did it was because I thought people that were, you know, interested in the flat earth and observational work, they would be interested in watching and also learning where all these markers were, the bird racks were, and they would be able to, you know, use that for themselves and learn from my observations how why some days I could see these things plain as day, and on other days, heck, I could zoom out there to Bayport and you couldn't even see it. It wouldn't even be there, or it'd be a smudge, like it'd almost be invisible because of the heavy mirroring. But you know, I found out that, you know, observational proofs are way underrated on by the flat earthers. People don't look at them like they should. They like on one of my videos, I got 36 views on it, and I was like, wow. It was one of my mirroring videos where I was trying to explain how the mirroring works, and I got 36 views. I was like so depressed. It almost makes me want to just kind of.
Yes, Sandra, I don't know where she is right now, but she will say you're so underrated and it's not fair. You know, you need more people need to see your work.
Yeah, but you know, if they if
Yeah, but you know what? It's not the people, by the way. It's YouTube.
well, I think it is partly YouTube, but I also think it's people. After I made my mistake and misidentifying.
We think you're fab, by the way. We think you're amazing, and I love your work. So,
Well,
people are looking. I can look. There's people in the chat room here that think your stuff's amazing. So, yeah, it's about getting it out more, isn't it?
yeah, you know, like I said, when I made my mistake on the Billy Steele's rack and I misidentified it, um, you know, I apologize to Taboo Conspiracy because it was my mistake. I should have caught it way beforehand, but
Just to
I
let you know, you've got another sub now, Wide Awake. Leah has subbed to you, and they also live on a boat and do time lapses and stuff. But anyway, Leah has subbed to you too. So that's a couple of more subs for you today.
well, that's good. You know, like I said, I go into my settings and I see how long people watch my videos for, and I know I make long observational videos, but isn't that what it should be about? Is learning from these observations and not just, you know, watching 3 minutes of it and then this is boring. I click off. You know, if they just stayed and paid attention to the details that you could actually learn from them, is what really got me into flat Earth was these types of observations. Otherwise, I'd still be a glober. I really would. I wouldn't even be talking flat Earth anything, because you know I seen it.
The chat room are agreeing with you and saying great stuff, amazing. So please don't. It's just some people. I watch your videos. You have to watch to the end. There's no point otherwise, is there?
Well, for me, there's, you know, it's been mainly
as you talk us through it, don't you? You talk us through the videos.
On a lot of them. I do. I started being a little more quiet about them, only because you know, I said, well, you know, maybe people just don't like me narrating, you know, so I kind of stopped narrating them.
Oh no,
And
I want to hear you talk.
and you know, you can see this little light right out here flashing. That's the Bayport light. And where I found Cutter's Rock is somewhere in this area right here. I went out 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and I said, I am going to get a good day of visibility where I'm going to be able to see Cutter's Rock, and I'm going to, you know, not only take video, but I'm going to take pictures of it. And that's exactly what I've done when I really found it. And still, well, what I found is after I made my mistake, even though everybody said, well, hey, you know, hey, everybody makes mistakes, and we're proud that you know, admitted to it and everything. Um, after they said that though, I still, it was like I got abandoned. Um, I got less and less and less views after I made my apology video and making that mistake. And I was like, wow, maybe that's why some people don't admit to their mistakes, is because they know that they're going to lose viewers. Um, I don't know if anybody can see in this video, but you can see all this straight line water right here. And then when you get to this light area off to the right, you can see it kind of go downward. Okay. And that is what that mirroring effect does, because some of this is being mirrored and that line should be going straight across, even with this other line here. But this is what that mirroring effect caused. In other words, sometimes I get more mirroring to the right, more mirroring to the left, but straight out in front of me, I can see forever. Or I've had it actually the opposite way around, where I was able to see more to the south than I was to the north. And again, it has to do with that angle of light coming in, how much the clouds are filtering that light. I mean, there's so many things that go into it that it's really, really a tough thing to explain to people that are watching your videos. And that's why in some of my explanations, I get tongue-tied, because one of the things I never do, I don't script anything. I I call it winging it. You know, you wing it. I tell it like I see it, and you know, again, I stumble sometimes on explaining things, and I don't think people understand how hard it is really to explain it in layman's term. And that's what I try to put it in, layman's term. I don't want to try to make scientific terms out of it to confuse people even more than what the scientific people already have. I mean, science really confuses you. I mean, they make it so complicated, and they want to make it complicated because then they make you feel like you're an idiot. So you just, okay, I just believe you. All right, I give up. I believe you. You're right. I'm wrong. I'm just some idiot.
You're not the idiot. They're the idiots.
Well, I agree. I agree that science is straight us down many, many wrong paths, uh, especially in the creation department. Like we were just all here by accident. Come on, man. If you really think that Earth is here by accident from some stupid Big Bang, that's crazy. I mean, the Big Bang that they're talking about is not real. Now, could there have been some kind of a, I mean, how did God create us? How did God create the world?
The whole thing has boggled me so much now. I have no idea because I've thought, what? You just wanted me here to give birth to the next set of slaves? Is that it? You know, like it's a bit crazy, isn't it? This whole thing. I mean, it's like we are living in the Truman Show, the Matrix. It goes on, all the films we've seen, and just all the lies. The thing looks almost like a simulation. Oh, dearie me. Like, you've got a son, I've got a son. You've got a moon, I've got a moon. We know they're local, so you can't have the same one as me, but we all have to see our own sun and our own moon.
Well, you know what
Oh,
a wick is, right? You know what a wick is, right? A wick, like a candle wick. It's two
yeah.
strings twisted together. Well, that's lies and truths mixed together, and that's they call that wicked. Wicked. You get wicked out of that, and that's what they've done is they built their lies upon truths. In other words, they tell you a lot of truths with a lie in it, and then because you think that that lie is a truth, they build upon that lie to give you more lies hidden with a little more truths, but mostly lies. And um, I was watching the X Files one night, and the guy said something very similar to that. They said the best way to hide the truth is within a lie, and the best way to hide lies is within truths. So it really started making sense to me how they can manipulate our minds with lies built upon truths. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
It's great. I know. I think it's a bit frustrating. Oh, these messages coming in. It's just frustrating, isn't it? Especially as you're looking at this every day, and there's no way you can mistake it. What you're seeing now, you trust everything that you know that you're seeing out there. So yeah, I so appreciate everything that you do. I think you're a really lovely man, very spiritual, and I love what you're capturing. I mean, look at the colours in that blue. Wow, that's just wow.
yeah, when you're out there with your real eyes, you realize,
Yeah,
oh,
to see the real lies, to realise the real lies, or yeah.
you really do because I like I said, I talk to people that are around me, and I tell them about these islands that are off over towards Hernando Beach, and some days the same people will come out there on a day where there is good visibility, and they'll see me again, and they say, "Wow, you're right. You can actually see all of those islands today, and look how clear it is." And I said, "Yeah, but on a day of bad visibility," I said, "it's this mirroring effect." And then I start opening up to them about flat Earth and some of the lies and stuff that science gives us, and actually some people they get how should I say it, like they get angry or like upset, and they'll just turn around and walk away. And I'm like, wow, did I really insult you that bad that you have to turn around and walk away, or
No, I
what?
just think a lot of people don't mean it, but they're ignorant.
And that was a time lapse of it. So, and I really like doing my time lapses too. I'm a a time lapse freak. I go out in my driveway and I set my camera up quite a lot, and I just let it go up to the stars, and it's just amazing what you see. Um, you know, and you go out there and you say, wow, if I turn my camera to the east, I get this. If I turn my camera to the west, I get that. If I turn my camera to the south, I get this. If I turn my camera to the north, I get that.
Exactly what you're saying, and I've tried to say that to people. There are all sorts of things happening with the stars, but when you turn it one way to the other way, everything's different.
Right. I mean, they say, well, the stars in the southern hemisphere, turn what is it, left to right, but in the northern hemisphere, they're right to left, or vice versa. I'm sorry. And if I turn my camera to the south, the stars come from left to right. If I turn my camera to the north, they come right to left. So I'm getting the same reaction that they would get. And what I say is that they're on the outside of what I'm seeing, and I'm on the inside of what they're seeing, if that makes sense. That's my mom that keeps trying to call me.
Oh, well, do you think we've been going there? I've really enjoyed it. I mean, there was you a bit worried and a bit shy, and we've been going for 2.5 hours. Do you want to finish now, Wide Awake?
Sure. We can finish up, and I mean, we've already
You have
on
to
here.
come back. I want to see more of your stuff. I want to see more of it.
Sure. We can try to come back another day.
That was amazing.
We off the air?
No, we're not off yet. So should I just say, do you want to say goodbye to everybody, Wide Awake?
Sure. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. I know that a lot of people were watching Globebusters tonight. And maybe we could pick a different time next time to where we're not in the Globebuster time frame.
Sure.
I think you might get more viewers. Because I know a lot of people like watching Globebusters, and I even like watching Globebusters because they do have some really good stuff on. And sometimes I don't agree with them, but you know what? I am not gonna go on and make a big hassle out of over a small disagreement that I disagree with. And I tried to tell Jaron about he's got to take perspective into his little test. And I hope he got that. I hope he found that message that I left him, because I can easily go.
I'm just laughing because Leah's put in the chat room, Globebusters is nothing compared to SAMFU. I love you, Leah. Carry on. Sorry, by the way.
Well, you know what? I like your channel, but darn it, I can hardly ever catch it because of the hours difference.
Oh, I know, but you can always watch. I see you comment, and you can always watch the when it's uploaded.
Yeah, I know. I know, but I like to watch the live because it's.
You like the chat room part.
Yeah, I can chat with other people. I can chat with you, or relay a message to the person, because I know they probably have a hard time, or they can't see the chat either. And that's the problem with sometimes having a chat, is you can't see the chats that other people are making. Now, I probably could have, if I wasn't doing a screen share, I probably could have threw it up in my top screen, because I do have 2 screens that I can use. People, I showed a guy that I had 2 screens, and he goes, "Oh, you're telling me you don't know how to use a computer?" Yeah, I am. I am kind of a computer dummy. It doesn't take much to learn.
Listen, you might think you're a computer dummy, but you're an amazing on the camera. And anyway, you're not a computer dummy, because you've managed to put all those pictures and all those films on your computer. But I don't know everything, and it's sometimes even eBay. I mean, sorry, Hangouts. See, this is all confusing. I mean, Patricia was trying to do something yesterday, and I just wanted to scream because nothing's straightforward.
I I wish I could do what you do because I could show more of my stuff, but I I don't even know how to even go about doing a hangout or getting people to.
I could always show you, but it's always great having you on the channel, Wide Awake. Wide Awake, I think Patricia wanted to say something. She's unmuted. She's muted now. Patricia?
Yeah, I just wanted to say what wonderful pictures and videos you've got there. I can't wait for the next round. They're fantastic.
Thank you. I'll try to pick out some better ones to show much smaller boats.
What do you mean? There's even better than that. They were amazing.
Oh yeah, I've got some that you guys would be surprised on how small I can videotape these boats that are way, way out in the horizon. I mean, just so small that you'd say, oh my goodness, how is he catching this? And one of them is a shrimp boat that goes right behind the Bayport rack that makes the Bayport rack look like a giant rack. And I was trying to find that footage to put it on my list. It might even be on my list. I just didn't. I think I made too big of a list because I 2 hours goes by when you're looking at them. But I should realize it because let me tell you, I've gone into my video files to look for something to make a video out of, and I wound up just sitting back enjoying my videos myself and never made a damn video at all because I got just I get amazed by my own stuff. I sat there and I go, wow, I can't believe I'm seeing this. And then I move on to the next video and the next video. And I'm like, wow, you know. And then, like I said, I wind up forgetting about it today because I fall asleep and then I don't.
Got another sub, Wide Awake. You got another one. So there you go. Your count's gone up today.
Well, I know I got over 4,000 subscribers. But that's really kind of a small amount for 3 years of being out here making videos. But I guess to each their own. You know, there's some people that like observations, and then there's some people that don't. So, you know, maybe I should kind of just step back a little bit and
no, you need to come on Sun and Moon. I don't know, in a few weeks, months, 6 weeks time, and do it again because we love it. The chat room are saying thank you. I've subbed. It's great. So there you go. We needed to see it, and thank you so much for showing us that.
Well, thank you, Karen. I really appreciate you having me on your show. I really do.
Oh, I appreciate you've come back because you were a little bit hesitant, weren't you, about coming back on? So I'm really glad that you got over that and you came back on because we saw some amazing footage and some amazing pictures.
Well, I hope to show more amazing stuff next time. That's even better yet.
Oh, wow. Well, I can't wait. Chat room, we can't wait, can we? Anyway, thank you so much to the chat room. Patricia, and Wide Awake. And thank you so much for all the effort you put in and all the videos you take.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll say goodbye off air, but we're saying goodbye on air, and we're back on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Love you all. Love you, Karen. Love you, Wide Awake.
Love you,